Hello there. So here we are today. It's the 10th day of the Drop 'em 78 Challenge 2023. So today is the 10 of Pentacles day, or the 10 of Discs, the 10 of Coins, as it's called in my deck, Molly Applejohn's suit of coins in the Ostara Tarot. You know, it's not too late to join the challenge, by the way. You can always just come on aboard wherever you are to take the deck that is your deck that you're using. One deck, one card at a time, one day at a time. We're going through till the end of the year, starting with the Pentacles, moving on through the majors, ending with the World on December 31st. So not too late to join in. But here's the thing, you know, wherever you are, whatever is going on, you're always joining in to something that's already in progress. That's just how life works. The world is given to us and we meet it as it is. That's actually the lesson of the Pentacles, I think. And it relates to the video that I just filmed called Tarot Improv, you know, using this central teaching or guideline in improvisational theater, the principle of yes and. You know, the way that improv works is that one person starts an improvisational scene. You start with a prompt like, pretend you're in a laundromat. And then one person starts and they start acting as if they're in a laundromat. The next person who comes on board is also going to pick up that premise. Yes, we meet what's already there. And we bring something new, our own verve, our own perspective, our own life force, our own ideas, our own jokes, our own wackiness. We bring it to what's already there. You know, improvisational theater, that's just life. That's life as a creative, collaborative activity. We meet the world, yes, and. That's what the Pentacles are all about. The Pentacles are about this truth that the world is already given to us. We meet it like the little mouse in Molly Applejohn's Ace of Pentacles. We meet the world, this little mouse with this great big coin. It's already given to us in all of its richness and all of its abundance. We meet it. And the thing about the world is there is not even the tiniest gap from the most infinitesimal quirk to the most huge, grandiose, majestic, I don't know, universe, right? Supernova, I don't know, something big, something astrophysically big. From the smallest to the largest, there's no gap. I mean, there might be void in space, you know, there may be places where there's not matter, but there's no place where there isn't a universe. The whole thing, gapless, seamless, the whole shebang, right? My arms aren't big enough to span the screen, the iPad screen that I'm filming on. It's not big enough to span the extent of seamless, gapless reality that's out there. From the littlest mouse to the greatest civilization, okay? So here's this vast expanse of the world. And the Pentacles are saying, yeah, it's given to us. We arrive and the world is right there. But there are parts of the world that we want, like coins, and parts of the world that we don't want. And then the work of the Pentacles is really about how to deal, I'm seeing this more and more this year, is about how to deal with what we don't want. How to work with the ebb and flow of material life. So the Two of Pentacles in Molly Applejohn's imagery is brings forward these two alchemical alembics, right? And it raises that question of the alchemical work by which we transform lead into gold, by which we work with what we don't want in order to engender what we do want. The great work of resolving opposites, of actually working with shadow, working with what has been rejected, working with what is underground, working with what is underneath, working with what is not beloved. Where does that dark matter go? The Pentacles suggest that we don't get to throw any of it away. In the Three of Pentacles, which is the card par excellence of this yes and approach, this collaborative approach, in Molly Applejohn's deck, we have this image of an ingenue, she calls her, who is drawn to this golden temple where she meets, or this fairy temple where she meets a golden frog, I guess, who becomes her mentor. And this, for me, this card is all about, how do we do the great work? We're never in this alone. The work of building cathedrals, the work of building a tarot community, the work of offering a tarot reading, the work of a human life, whatever that work is, it's collaborative. And it means allowing that innocent ingenue part of ourselves to be tutored by the world, to be mentored, like she's mentored by this golden frog. It means a willingness to be small, a willingness to be naive, a willingness to learn, a willingness to be in community, and a willingness to face our uncertainties. So that gesture of hers, a willingness to be in that place of not knowing. And then, there is, the Four of Pentacles. And I love how in Molly Applejohn's deck, there's so much water in this earth suit. There is the ocean that this alchemist is. He's on a sailing ship. He's being distracted by these sparrows, and he's trying to balance his great work. So he's on a sailing ship. And now we have the miser of the Four of Pentacles, of the Four of Coins here, who is this pirate moving away with all of his resources and riches, and was actually stealing from his own community. In Molly Applejohn's reading of this card, it's like you've taken from people and you're on your way. He's at sea. And, the way I'm understanding all of the water in Molly Applejohn's suit of discs, why is there so much water in the earth suit? Actually, I've been calibrating my readings in the Drop 'em 78 challenge by using the playing card tarot, the standard playing card tarot. And on the very first day, the card I got was the King of Hearts. So the King of Water, right? The King of Cups, who in playing card iconography is the Suicide King. And I thought, that's perfect, because there's this way in which what's at stake with this suit of work, this suit of collaboration, of earth, of living in a completely full, seamless, gapless universe. What's at stake with that is being willing to let go of the self, of being willing to be at sea, being willing to submerge ourselves in the worlds that are unknown and unconscious. For me, it's a willingness to let go of ego in the name of self with a capital S, right? The big self, the archetypal self. It's being willing not to try to hold on to any one little piece, but actually to work alchemically with everything, shadow and all, which is to risk the loss of self. That, the King of Hearts, the King of Cups, the Suicide King in the playing card deck, so much is a figure of this kind of mastery of the waters of the spirit, of the soul, that is willing to not be in control. What does it mean to be King of Cups? It means that you are master of the emotional depths, precisely because you're not in control. The Pentacles are teaching that same lesson in the land of material existence. And so we have the Five of Pentacles with its imagery of being outside of scarcity and poverty. And again, Molly Applejohn's deck brings forward what I associate with the waters of the unconscious. It brings forward the world of shadows. So we have here this serpent figure and this asp. The asp is the cobra, venomous snake that, famously Cleopatra killed herself with. It's like the suicide snake, right? Like the Suicide King. She's being led, this asp is winding up her leg, and she's being led by it, and the asp is in the window. And the sense of the ways in which our shadowy the shadowy parts of ourselves that we push away, and even our own destruction, our own death that we might push away, that actually is leading us in a way, winding us forward in a way that we need to bring into the light. You know, the great work of alchemy is the work of integrating what is hidden, what is dark, what is shadow into the light, bringing the lead into the gold. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Coins, which in this deck, you know, this is a generosity card. In this deck, we have a mermaid all the way under the ocean. So she's like swimming in the waters. She is all the way submerged. And then, you know, we have the card of patience, the card of holding and staying and lingering with and being willing to be in the womb of time, like these raccoons hidden in their den. What I noticed about these cards is that the figure, I don't know if you can see it here, the figure right on the coin is an owl. Well, owls are predators to raccoons. And again, there's this sense of being willing to encounter the truth of death, the truth of the great, what the Buddhists call the great matter of birth and death, the truth of what we can't master, what we can't control, what ultimately marks the end of control, our own death, right? And that's, you know, what it is to live in this world that is given to us. We don't get to control it, but we have to meet it and add to it, add our life force to it, add our labor to it. And now the owl has come out of the coin and is forging more coins of her own. This sense of work, of a labor that is the labor of a life, but is also the willingness to meet that which isn't only ours. And then the 9. And here she is. Here's the lady in her garden. You know, classically, this is the card of like basking in what you've achieved. You've made it. Just breathe deep. But I love that this card with the mountain lion, it echoes the strength card, which, you know, I always read as a card, the lady with her lion. I read it as a card that's about how we relate to those sides of ourselves that may feel less than human, that are just pure strength, instinct, the body, the ferocity of lust, of sensuality, of impulse, of the strength of our embodied being, as opposed to our more rational, sort of sublimated selves. Here we have an echo of the strength card in this lady with her mountain lion. You know, there is that kind of willingness to be with our shadows, to be with what we try to master, but we can't ultimately master. Yes, and we're not in control. We meet it, we add to it, and ultimately it's not just ours. And then we have the 10. Now the 10 of Pentacles is a card that I've had like so many issues with over the years because, you know, classically it's a card with like the patriarch sitting there and all of the tree of life overlaid. It's a very busy image. It's a hard to read image because of the way it's portrayed in the Waite-Smith. But the sense of legacy, of the next generation, of I've built up my resources and now I'm going to pass it on. It's a card that's about, you know, how the work of one individual nourishes successive generations. In this reading, Molly Applejohn interprets this as a card that is about what it means to be a provider. So, you know, the daddy or granddaddy figure is an octopus with all of his arms and all of his coins and all of his progeny, who are strangely little cherubic beings, little sort of human tentacular octopi children. It's kind of a wonderful, insane image. To me, this again is about what it means to be at home in the waters, in the deep, deep waters. The richness of that. and the way that our willingness to be fully submerged in this life that is not ultimately our life, that our willingness to be submerged in that nourishes a whole undersea cosmos. So, yes, and the Pentacles, the suit of earth, which is very watery in Molly Applejohn's interpretation of it. How do we work with this gift of a world that is, by definition, already there when we arrive? How do we meet it? How do we add to it? How do we collaborate with it? How do we work with it? How do we work with what we have been given? That might be the ultimate formulation for the Pentacles. How are you going to work with what you have been given? Okay, that's all I got for today. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for your practice.